Hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about my review of the Memphis Shades Road Warrior fairing. So let's check it out. I've been riding with this fairing for about 1,000 miles, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. I think I've got enough experience with it to provide a meaningful review beyond just first impressions. Now, I did have the Memphis Shades Café fairing before this, and wow, does it make a difference. I had mentioned in the Café fairing review that, you know, I really don't mind the wind too much, and that's still true for the most part. But I will say, not having to deal with it is actually pretty nice. So I actually didn't realize how much I would like not having to deal with the wind as much. I mean, it can be good and bad, and we'll talk about that, but man, does it make a big difference in the wind. Like, that is by far the biggest change the fairing does for you, is the wind protection. So a little bit of context, I'm 6'3", so pretty tall on a Scout. Buffeting and all of that has been something that I've always had to deal with and expected to deal with no matter the fairing. I'm pretty sure that I'm not getting any buffeting at all with this fairing, which kind of surprises me because there are some other people who are shorter than me who do also complain of buffeting. Now, it might also be because their fairing isn't high enough, so I'll put all the details of what I bought in the description, and I'll put it up here so you can see the exact height of the fairing and all that. I personally don't think I get any buffeting at all, even when I'm like at full length on the highway. What's up, dude? If you were to ask me, hey, should I get the Café fairing again or get the Road Warrior fairing? You know, it really depends on what you're going for. You know, if you're going for Café fairing, and I talked about that, I'll link in the corner to that video, so I recommend you go check that one out if you're considering that. But I did mention in that video, you know, the Café fairing is really good for aesthetic. It looks really nice, it's pretty cool, but wind protection is pretty minimal. It helps, I would say, keep it off your hips, if anything, like your lower torso, your stomach, but definitely not your head or your upper torso. The Road Warrior fairing, I think, protects me from head to toe. Like, it makes such a big difference, even in ways that I didn't expect it to make a difference. Like, it pushes the wind all around my body. Like, I feel nothing. All up here, I feel nothing. And that's really impressive. I really like the fact that it reuses the same trigger lock mechanism as I did for the Café fairing. So if you have multiple fairings, you can swap them out and change them up, and they all use the same size, so I didn't have to adjust them on the forks at all. That's really nice. The mounting plates are different, so just get the right mounting plates for the fairing. Installation was pretty straightforward. Installing everything was pretty easy. Can't complain there. You know, I did an install video. I'll link up to that one. It is a bit pricey, but again, you're paying for quality. You're paying for that name brand of Memphis Shades. They make really cool stuff, and they have a lot of stuff that works. Headlight relocation was pretty straightforward. You know, the instructions are pretty good. There's a ton of YouTube videos online of people doing their installs and reviews and all that. So there is absolutely no shortage of information on if you think it'll work for you or not. I honestly am really impressed. Having experience with both of these from the get-go, I would recommend get the Road Warrior fairing, just because it really changes up how you ride. There's a reason why you see so many people have it. I'm sure some people buy it purely just for the aesthetic. You know, they kind of want that club style look, which is pretty cool. But you know, I bought it mostly to try out something different for the wind protection and see what a difference that would make. Not really so much because I want to make my bike look like a club bike. I don't know what my bike looks like. I didn't really have any specific thing in mind. I was just like, yeah, let's try this, let's try that, let's see what this does. So this bike's just one big experiment. So, but I've been very happy with it. If I also do it over again, I would for sure get the Road Warrior fairing. The fairing stays in place. You know, it doesn't move around, but it's super easy to take on and off. Whenever I need to do maintenance on the bike, I really can't complain about the fairing at all. Like, normally I'm like one to like really point out all the pros and all the cons, so that way you can make a very balanced and educated purchase. And And I'm not sponsored, so, you know, I have nothing to gain or lose by sharing my experiences with this, like the good and the bad. I'm really having a hard time saying, you know, what are some of the bad things about this fairing, you know, but it really goes to show it's a fantastic fairing. The only thing I can really mention about for Memphis Shades, I had to reach out to them multiple times to get advice on how high the windshield should be, because I wasn't sure. I'm like, do I get the 17-inch or the inch or the whatever? I don't remember all the exact options, but I was like, which one should I get? Because I don't want to buy one and then have to return it because I get buffeting, and I don't want to get one that's like super tall, taller than I need. So I reached out to them at least 3 times. I tried the online chat, I tried calling them directly, I tried emailing them, and the only response I ever got was from when I reached out to them on Instagram. So whoever's managing their Instagram account, thank you for responding to me and giving me advice. I went with their recommendation, and it is working out great for me. So that's really the only thing I could, you know, stipulate on, is their customer service was, you know, hit or miss. No, that wasn't always the case. When I was working with the Café fairing, I lost some screws just throughout riding. I reached out to them, immediately responsive when I called them and emailed them. So I don't know what's going on recently, but it seems their customer service has changed a little bit. But in terms of the fairing, back to the fairing, really cool things that you can do with all of the fairings is you can customize them, you can paint them. I've put wrap on the Café fairing and this one, and it sticks, it holds on very well. Have had absolutely no issues with it at all. Now, there are some considerations that you do need to be aware of. So this was something that I did not expect. If you have the Road Warrior fairing, you will need to be more conscious of your speed. Because in my experience, I didn't really realize this. I was using the wind as a kind of a tactile way to gauge how fast or slow I was going. So on the highway, I could generally pretty much guess, okay, I'm going like 65, I'm going 70, I'm going 80, I'm going real fast. Based off of the wind that was hitting my body. Since that wind is no longer there, I can't tell you how many times when I'm going on the highway, I look down at my speedometer and I'm going 85, 90. And not even, I was thinking I was going like 70. And I'm like, holy crap, you know, this is bad when I'm not even realizing how fast I'm going anymore. Just because it does such a good job of blocking all that wind, I've lost that tactile way to gauge how fast I'm going. So now I just have to be really conscious of looking down at my speedometer, paying attention to how fast I'm going beyond the flow of traffic, and I have to gauge my speeds in other ways. You know, that was something I just didn't really realize or didn't think about is, hey, if I'm gonna buy this fairing, I'm gonna unintentionally be going faster. But again, it goes to show how good of a job it does at blocking wind. So I think it looks pretty cool. You know, the quote unquote, the hipster in me is kind of like, I don't like having what everybody else has, you know. I like to do something different. I like to do something that's really representative of me and not just copy and paste what everybody else has. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks really cool, but that's really like the only thing that I think that's probably the only reason why I didn't start with it first, was like, you know what, I don't see too many people with the Café fairing. I'm gonna get that one versus I'm gonna get the Road Warrior fairing, which I see, you know, every other cruiser have. So all in all, would I recommend the fairing? Yes, again, absolutely, I would recommend this fairing. It's held up fantastically well. It's super easy to work with, easy to install. Like, I think the only things that would stop someone from buying this are really the price point. And I think that's really the only thing is, you know, the price point and if it just won't fit on your bike to begin with. You know, other than that, that's going to be about it. Love this fairing, highly recommend it. Definitely keeping this on, not going back to the Café fairing anytime soon. And, you know, this has really changed my perception in terms of how I ride. Does the wind still bother me? Not really. But is it nicer to not have to deal with it? Yes. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Ride safe. As always, be brave, do good, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.